Hey y'all. Oh yeah. I feel like doing some Vogue.
Oh.
Hello everybody. And welcome to Juicy Channel. Girl, if you do that death drop, I'm done, okay?
Then if they could actually see me, I would actually have heard afterwards. So let me stop.
I don't know if we can call 911 from this thing. I don't know.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Test that theory. Nah.
Yeah,
I think we good.
Down. She's down, ladies and gentlemen. She's down. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to join us tonight. We are back on the air live. Welcome to Juicy Tales Erotic Chat. Yes. Tell a friend, and come on in. Hey, KD. Hello.
Hey, babes.
That's what I got to do. Let me grab my water. I know I got some wine, but let me grab my water.
Tell a friend, come on in. We're just getting started. Tell us your name, where you're from. Hopefully you had a fabulous holiday. Getting ready for the holiday. Ooh,
I'm getting ready for 18th birthday. That's the holiday.
That's the holiday. Maybe we should make it a national holiday and you won't have to spend so much.
You know, but I would like that because, you know, when they turn 18, that's really when it's supposed to be. But you end up spending more.
Right.
Yep.
Got a hot topic tonight, you guys. Make sure you tell a friend. Come on in.
Graduation around the corner.
I just went through all of that. Graduation and then birthday.
I'm fortunate it's birthday, Christmas, then graduation. But still.
What was mine was birthday, graduation. No, mine is birthday, Christmas, graduation. Yeah.
I was say
birthday,
Christmas next week.
Her birthday's Friday.
That's okay. That's what I thought.
Friday. She's gonna be old. All right.
Foster.
Got her.
Woo! You caught me.
Got her. I told you, girl, I'm good at this little. I'm
you
good.
get real good at this. Good job.
I am. You know, I think the more I do it, the more comfortable I feel. So, once again, if you all hear my roaring heat in the background, I'm in Cleveland. It is cold. You know,
It's cold here too.
It's cold.
What's the weather like where you at?
It hasn't snowed. It was in the 40s today.
For you, Danny.
Oh, where I am, because we're not saying where I am in the world, where I am.
It was gorgeous.
Where I am, it's not. It's below 40 and below, I should say.
Yeah, it's.
I don't have
it's cool.
to.
It's cool.
But
All right, y'all ready to get started? Oh my goodness, I know I am.
Yes,
We have
ma'am.
a great topic tonight, so everybody get your pen and paper ready. Get your sippy poo ready. Get, whatever it is, pull somebody close, and let's have some fun tonight. Let's get into this. So we want to welcome everyone to another marvelous Monday on Juicy Tales Erotic Chat. Woo! Woo! Jazz hands.
Spirit fingers.
Just Jack. I'm telling you, I love that show.
I love him.
Just Jack. So we are back. My beautiful queens are with me. My melanated, just gorgeous. Hello, Teddy. Welcome. So let me do a quick introduction for those of you that are new to our podcast. We're on here every Monday night, pretty much. And some Mondays we do miss just due to scheduling, but for Mondays we do try. Hey, Lorenzo. So I have my beautiful melanated queens with me this evening. From parts unknown, we have Ms. Danny's Windows in the house, and we have Miss Jasmine from the Midwest. How about that? We're gonna be secretive tonight, okay? I'm from Cleveland. I'm sitting here in the cold, so I know where I am. I know where I am. Woo! So
I know where I am too. I'm just not saying.
There you go.
I
That's
got
funny.
People's looking.
Mum's the word. TikTok. We're not telling.
There we go.
We're not telling secrets. We have secrets. So we want to welcome you guys tonight. This is going to be a great conversation. And just checking out, ladies, how was your week? So Jasmine, let's start with you. How was your week this week?
It's better today. I've been sick all week.
Oh.
So after we got offline last week, I woke up Tuesday morning. Felt like a Mack truck hit. But it wasn't COVID. It was just the flu. I think I've taken like 7 COVID tests to make sure that it wasn't COVID. But it was just the flu, and I still kind of have a cough lingering in my chest.
Okay.
Usually don't get sick, so it was a tough one, but it's been elderberry, Mucinex, and orange juice.
Okay. Well, we're happy that you're on the mend, ma'am. Happy that you are on the mend.
Thank you.
And Miss Danny, how was your week?
My week was the reason why I wasn't here last week. My computer went down, which is like my lifeline, my other heartbeat, my other arm, and everything. Because what I do everything from it side. And I am not where I should be in order for me to the situation. So I have been at the mercy of me out. So I will be getting my computer back, I believe, tomorrow. So I will have I'm missing something, because I really do feel like I never thought that computer was that important. But the great part about it is I have people who love me. Thank you.
Good. And the whole thing is, and I know exactly how that feels, because when mine was going down, and I have my iPad, and I'm happy. Look, guys, if you have a computer, get a backup. Have an iPad handy if you can. Get an iPad.
My best.
And I really.
She gave me this iPad.
Okay. Hey, look. Also, if you can. And I'm not advertising for them, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they saved my ass. I went to Best Buy. I have an Envoy. I have like an Envy. I'm sorry, HP Envy. I call it Envoy. Sorry, HP Envy, which is a pretty high end laptop. But at Best Buy, and this is for anyone out there that hopefully listens to this, if you get a laptop through them, they have a program called Progressive Leasing. Not Progressive in car insurance or anything like that, but it's Progressive leasing, and it's within the stores at Best Buy, and you don't need, it's no credit check or anything like that. No, you don't need, all you do is put down, I think, a little bit of money to, depending on how much you get, you would put down just like less than $100, less than it, just on, you know, how you pay, like a little $69 or $59 or something along those lines. But you can get yourself a nice piece of electronics. I do keep the service, what do you want to call it? The Best Buy, what are them guys called? The tech people. Anyway, I have that. I have the maintenance contract with them, the Geek Squad. I have the maintenance contract, and it covers anything that I buy electronic from Best Buy. And I pay about $200 a year for it. Believe me, it has come in handy with my computer. Yeah, Geek Squad. Thank you, Lorenzo. So just putting it out there. There's no money down. You could do the progressive leasing with them. You can get yourself a nice computer with all the bells and whistles on it, and a laptop, whatever. So shout out to Best Buy, making it easier for us to afford high-priced electronics. And then what I do with my progressive leasing is I call in after it gets started, and I make it 90 days. I pay it off in 90 days. And so I pay it weekly in 90 days.
Or you can go just out of my Apple Care. That's the reason why I'm just out of my Apple Care contract.
Ain't that how it always is, though? If you, with your car just out of warranty, the engine goes out, this, that, and the, I think they know. I think they know. He said, "Oh, Teddy said he got his from them." So,
Coach.
Yeah, it's really something. Okay. It's so convenient. So if you guys, Best Buy got this thing going on, go for it. Just go for it. You can get yourself an updated, whatever it is that you need, a Mac code, whatever, HP, Apple, whatever. They got everything in there. So, to me, I mean, it was very helpful because I just don't necessarily have $1,500 laying around. And this was a $1,700 computer, and I paid it off in like less than a year. So just putting it out there. Love you, Best Buy. Got me. Not only did it get me this computer, but I have a brand new printer behind me too. Yay! So I can print professionally. So yes, and it's all paid for. So and it works for people that are on a budget and we just don't have a lot of money, you know, especially nowadays, you know, we got to eat. So, so let us get started on the topic tonight. So I hope everybody is ready because this is a really exciting topic for me. I'm very geeked about it, and I can't wait to hear the input because this is going to be off the chain when we get started into this topic. So this evening, I just want everyone to know that the opinions are not necessarily ours, but we did want people to get a little understanding of where we are with our sexuality. So I hope that everybody can just follow along with this. And tonight's topic is sexuality in Western civilization. Okay, Western civilization. And we are not talking about indigenous people because that needs to be a whole different topic. So we're going to be talking about our people of non-color. How about that? And the influence that they have had over sexuality in the Western Hemisphere over here with us in the United States. So, but before we do that, you know what we got to do, don't you? Let me get them scores in before I forget. Get the football scores in. So Thursday night game was the Bills versus the Patriots. The Bills won 24-10 over the Patriots. And it looks like the Commanders and the Giants tied at 2020. That's interesting. So they tied. Interesting. The Broncos and the Ravens. Come on, Broncos. You couldn't help us out. No, I guess not, because the Broncos lost 9-10 to the Ravens. The Steelers beat the Falcons 19-16. The Jets and the Vikings. It was the Vikings over the Jets 27-22. The Browns and the Texans, and the return of Deshaun Watson to the NFL, and the Browns won 27-14.
But
the Jaguars and Lions, it looks like it was the Lions over the Jaguars. And the score on that one is, let me just make sure I got it right, is 14-40. Oh, the Lions whooped that butt. Oh my. They tore up Jaguars.
Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my.
Right. They whooped that ass. Okay. Okay, ladies, I'm sorry. But the Packers and the Bears, it was the Packers over the Bears, 28-19. The Eagles and the Titans, looks like the Eagles beat the Titans 35-10. Is anyone going to stop these Eagles, man? They are 11-1. They are definitely the team to be looking at right now to make that Super Bowl. Seahawks and the Rams. It was the Seahawks 27, the Rams 23. Dolphins and the 49ers. Looks like the 49ers squeaked it out over the Dolphins, 33-17. Chiefs and the Bengals. And it was the Bengals over the Chiefs. 27-24. Get out of here. Okay. That was supposed to be like kind of a grudge match, and the Chiefs still lost. The Chargers and the Raiders. It looks like the Raiders beat the Chargers 27-20. And oh my gosh. Oh, not the score I want to see. The Cowboys and the Colts. It looks like the Cowboys handed the Colts their horse. Okay. 54-19. And in the second quarter, it's the Saints and the Buccaneers, and the Saints are over the Buccaneers 7-3. But the Bucs have the ball. So there are your NFL scores for the week. Making sure we get those in.
Hey.
And now we are ready to go. Yes. I wanted to start this off with just explaining, once again, this is about, we're going to pretty much concentrate on, like I said, the Western Hemisphere. And some of the information that we give you is going to be as accurate as we can possibly be from all the writings and things like that. But it could be off here or there. But the things I want you really to pay attention to are, as we go through the decades and we go through the years, I want you to listen, if you can, to some of the stuff that's made history and where we are right now with our sexuality. And it's kind of crazy and antiquated at the same time. So in the Middle Ages started in the 400s to the 1400s, sexuality rose to become respectable. Okay, procreation was the only legitimate reason to have sex. Sex without procreation is seen as sinful. One of the most serious sins was withdrawal.
Pullout game was considered sinful.
Yes. The pullout.
Oh my.
The pull that was considered sinful. Fellas, you might have lost.
That's why they got
part of
that week pullout games, because they sinful.
Damn.
So
no, we not supposed to have pullout games. game. We not supposed to just ski.
That was considered sinful, which I find that to me very amusing. I don't know why, but I just did. I just found that very amusing. So just letting you know, back between 400 and the 1400s, which that's a long time. That's over 1,000 years, about 1,000 years. The pullout wasn't supposed to be going down, y'all. So he said, Teddy says, I've sinned many times. See? Oh, you probably didn't know either. You really didn't know that you were caught making a sin, did you, Teddy? Well, there you go. You might have been off with your head back in the 1400s. I don't know. But I'm not talking about the one above your shoulders. Okay, I'm talking about the one below. So the Protestant Reformation was in the 1500s. It becomes more comfortable with sex for the reasons as long as it isn't within the confines of marriage. Sex not just for procreation. Priests allowed to marry and have children. Masturbation, prostitution, same sex, oral sex, anal sex were strictly forbidden and viewed as sinful. Sex for marriage and procreation, not pleasure. Lust was evil, and divorce was outlawed in the 1500s.
So everything we know of sex of today, see, I knew it was more to this mess.
Telling you.
All of the stuff they telling us is wrong. It's stuff that existed before 400 AD when they decided that it was sinful.
And they want to act like, oh no, you should not. So why did y'all stop it? Did they tell us why they stopped it? Does anything have to do with?
Well, at that time, it's religious. A lot of it seems to be religion. A lot of it seems to be religion, or to me, I think of it kind of like this. Somebody got a wild hair up their ass. They had power at the time, and people started to listen, because some people are not leaders. Some people are followers. So if I say that this is bad, and I'm a leader, and if you do this, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to punish you, or you're going to be stoned to death, or you're going to be whipped in the middle of the, circle somewhere. You're going to be,
town square.
Yeah, I'm going to, they put fear into people. Look at the Crusades. They put fear into people. They had all the degradation, but they made it sound like, oh, we're not doing none of that. Yeah, they were. They were doing it in the dungeons. They were doing it, so in secret. But somebody decided that all of these things in the 1500s, priests were allowed to marry and have kids, but somebody decided that masturbation, prostitution, same sex, oral sex, anal sex were strictly forbidden and viewed as sinful. Now, all of those things I mentioned, this is the 1500s. Remember when I tell you guys, when I'm always saying all of these types of, all this type of sex that's going on, all the different types of sex that there are, has been going on. Don't let people tell you that it didn't exist, because it did.
It seems like all the things that made people happy and that made sex for pleasure is what they banned.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what they did. And if you were not the one with the coin, if you didn't have the riches,
control,
you didn't have a say. You were considered a peasant. Now, that doesn't mean that the rich didn't continue to do those things, but they didn't want everyone to be able to do it. That's how I'm looking at it.
Well, we know that's not that is partly true, that the ones with the money did still whatever they wanted, because at the end of the day, even when you look at historical accounts, let's take the Church of England for example. When Henry VIII divorced Anne Boleyn, his first wife, divorce was illegal. He's the reason why it changed.
Because he's the king.
Because he's the king. The king had all the power. And then when you look at anything in history where you have these men of affluency, dukes, counts, all of them, they cheat in brothels and do all kind of stuff, and don't nobody say nothing to them, but they talk about the women. It's all about the control and the money.
He who has and those who have not is pretty much where we're at. And it still exists today. He who has the moolah and controls the media can get the propaganda out there. They're the ones that win. So let's go a little further. Let's move on. Let's move on down a little bit, because this pretty much lasted around 200 years.
Okay.
So the Enlightenment period was the 1700s, and people started to question sexuality restrictions. White culture had such strict beliefs. Where was the science? So people were starting to catch on, so to speak, in the 1700s, and they're questioning all of these restrictions that all of a sudden, honestly, popped up. Now they want to know, where's the science? Where's the science behind, or what is the reasoning behind why we can't do X, Y, and Z? Who gonna know you masturbating?
And who
they didn't have
to say what is natural?
Well, you know, it's still illegal here in several states.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of. I want to definitely do a show on the crazy shit that is still on the books in the United
States of America.
The crazy stuff that is still on the books in different states, as far as what you can do and what you cannot do. In some states, you still cannot. You are not allowed to have anal sex. You are not allowed to have more than one dildo.
In some states, you're not allowed to take a shower naked.
You know what?
Allowed to take a shower naked.
Okay. What's that? What's that? Saving detergent or something? You wash yourself and wash your clothes at the same time.
Something about nudity and indecent exposure, but you're in your house in the shower. I don't understand.
Oh my goodness. We'll have to definitely do a show.
Why are we concerned about what people are doing in their bed or in their private time? Or
it's called government control of the right to privacy.
Okay.
Is it right?
No,
it's not right.
No, but
it exists.
Not at all.
But a lot of people were terrified to do X, Y, and Z. You know, look at the Lovings. You get ripped out of your bed because you married a different race. You're thrown in jail. You can never come back to the state that you were born in, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, And then we have to go to the government to get the laws changed. And then these jackasses want to change shit back. Where they do that at?
I think what they thought they was gonna do was to away with it if people would actually go with it. And when people didn't go with it, they was like, we can't do that.
Well, I think they're too busy being in everybody's bedroom. You're supposed to. I can understand you making laws for things of danger, but I can understand that. I can understand you making laws for things that are dangerous. I don't understand you making laws for things that are of pleasure. I just, because your ass is doing it. Okay, you nasty motherfuckers are probably doing worse than we are. So
that part. Bestiality and all kind of shit.
Right. Kitty porn.
Dressing up as stuffed animals and shit. The shit that they do.
And this is not to shame anybody. I'm just anybody's saying. Kink or anything. Why are y'all tripping about other people doing stuff that you do?
That's my point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your kink is your kink. We're not knocking that, okay? But we're just saying you can do what you want to do in the privacy of your home or dungeon, but others can't. Others, you going to jail because what? If you get caught, are you ashamed of what you're doing?
Yes. Yes. Remember the Republican senator that was adamantly always voting against the right for gay marriage, and then he got caught having sex with a man.
Mm-hmm. Beards in the world.
And he was a Republican senator. I'm just saying, they are ashamed. They've been indoctrinated to believe that certain things that they like for pleasure are wrong, and they feel like this is the right way. Even though I'm not going to do it in the privacy of my locked doors, I'm going to do what I do, but it still needs to be outlawed because this is what's right. It's a weird indoctrination.
You can't bust it open. I can bust it open, but you can't.
Right, and it's not right, and it's definitely it's a double standard, point blank period. It's a double standard. I can do it, but you can't. I can do it because I'm what? I'm a senator and I'm white.
But see, that double standard, that whole double standard thing is a whole rabbit hole, because some of the stuff I done seen on TikTok this week, and it shows the double standard of certain things. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. We'll go down that when we go to that, when we have that show. But
that part,
that double standard goes on both sides of the coin with many of things, not just sexuality, but yeah.
So we're going to move from the 1700s to the 1800s. So remember, now people are in the 1700s, they're starting to ask questions. They're starting to go, where's the science? Why can't we do because they probably know people are still doing they're still masturbating, they're still having oral sex, they're still having anal sex, there's still prostitution going on, all of these things are happening. So now we're into the Victorian era, which is in the 1800s. And this one is, once again, this is for our non people of color. Women were passive, proper, and demure. Sexual desire identified with men and lower class women like prostitutes or courtesans. Sexual desire for women was seen as a disease that needs medical attention. Not only did they see it as medical attention, but they also did institutionalized women as well. institutionalized. But which made no sense to me whatsoever. You have already stated that courtesans and prostitutes who are women can have these sexual desires, but a quote unquote regular woman, however you'd like to put it, or an upper class woman, has absolutely no business having sexual desires, and she's crazy and she needs to be institutionalized. She needs to have a lobotomy. She needs to have her nipples and coochie zapped away, so she can take away all of her desire, short of castrating her. It's crazy. It's just, I'm not quite understanding where that thought process came from, that for some women that are pleasing the men, it is okay. But for the higher up women, oh no, it's not okay. Just because you're higher up. That's it. It's not because you're a woman.
What it sounds like is that, have sex with and stuff, because I don't want, not necessarily desirable, and I don't want men to want to take them home and marry them. We're going to let them stay women that we want to have in our homes, marry. We need to control them. So we need them to want to be like them. You're supposed to be like this so that I feel better about myself.
Off the internet.
So that's how I see it. I see this really as, so we live in a patriarchy. These men make these rules.
Yes.
I think it's a man who got his feelings hurt one good time, decided to make all women pay. And he got all the men on the same experience, and they was like, yeah, boy, man, I know. Yeah, I felt that same thing, that all up in here, man. She hurt my feelings, and she called my dick smaller, all that good shit. And they just said women pay. Y'all can't have the pleasures that we have. Only have pleasure. You're not supposed to want to have pleasure. And if you have pleasure, you're crazy. You're going through hysteria. We need to commit you so that you don't want to do that, and I don't have to worry about doing that with you because I want to do it with them. But I need you to look good for me, because even the one over there, she might be something else. So I need you to look good over here so that I look good in front of everybody else when I go over
here. So true. And it is true, because it's crazy some of the things that some of these women went through, whether they were Black women, white women, the things that they went, to institutionalize a woman. If you all can just wrap your mind around this, honestly, it wasn't that long ago. I really, I hope everybody's listening to the dates. That's the thing that I hope everybody's listening to. This is the 1800s, and you're talking about
2,000 years ago.
You're talking about women being crazy for having sexual desire. And so once again, we're using fear tactics. We've taken it even further with the fear tactics, because now we can institutionalize you. We can put you in places where you can be sexually abused. You can have your mental capacity pretty much taken away with electroshock and electrotherapy, because that was the cure-all. Everybody just remember that. That was kind of the cure. They used to do all that electrotherapy
out of you.
Yep. That was the cure-all back in the day. So let's go. This is another, once again, now we've had another 1,000 years pass. We're up to the progressive era, which is the 1900s. Women developed independence as they started to work, And World War I, feminists developed an idea of sexual revolution in the 1920s, divorce being more normal. Premarital sex wouldn't ruin a woman's reputation. Using contraception and then sex for pleasure. World War I changed the traditional male-female roles of the society. Havelock Ellis challenged the Victorian era sexual taboos. Women enjoy sex as much as men, and he did a study, as much as men do, and have sexual needs. And at this time, homosexuality is inborn and irreversible. Now, that's something key I want you all to remember. This is in the 1920s that this Havelock Ellis came up with this study. Homosexuality is inborn and is irreversible. That's in the 1920s. And women, started to, we wanted to vote, we wanted to have a voice, we wanted to work, we wanted to enjoy sex. You had your flappers back in the roaring 20s, you had your prohibition, you had your juke points, you had a lot more openness and freedom for women that were just, and these are good women. They weren't prostitutes. They were just, let's have some fun. Mm-hmm. And with World War I starting, women had to work because the men were where? Gone to war. But it's crazy that what has changed in the 1,000 years, we went from trying to institutionalize women for enjoying sex to encouraging women to enjoy sex. We went from telling women divorce is or telling people that divorce is a no, to in the 1900s, all of a sudden divorce is okay. You all can get divorced. It's not going to taint you. It's going to, it's going to be okay. Do you see? I just wonder, does anybody else see all the inconsistencies that has transpired when it comes to sexuality as we go through the centuries? It's just, it's just crazy. You need and I'm happy I'm doing this because I needed a scorecard to try to keep up with this stuff.
Man.
But it's why we are so fucking confused when it comes to sex.
Yeah.
All of this stuff has left a mark on all of us, not just, when you're talking about the Western civilization and we got Black people over here now in the 1920s, slavery's over, blah, blah, blah. You're spreading this crap throughout everybody that's in the country, all of the different nationalities. And remember, the one thing I didn't mention, and I said we would probably go back to this a little later on in our conversations, I have not discussed the fact that they considered, Africans, indigenous people, Chinese, Oriental, Latin, they consider that their rituals and their things to be heathenistic.
Yeah.
Their perception of fluidity, especially with Native Americans, fluidity through sex, through your gender and everything, there's fluidity. They have a problem with that. And it's like 1 minute, no, I'm like, I sat and I did this and I thought to myself, no wonder we're so damn confused. 1 minute, everything is okay. And the next minute, somebody gets a bee in their bonnet. It's not okay. And then, like Danny just stated, some man gets hurt. And now we're going to write a new law that says you can't do this. And then we got antiquated laws on the books in each state.
Still in 2022.
I hope everybody's
And we still got laws on the books from 1910, from 1874, 1865.
And we can't understand why. I mean, I think this history part, man, this just explains, to me, it just explains so much.
They worried about the wrong stuff.
Exactly.
Sex should be the least of anybody's worries when running a freaking country. Why do you care?
Thank you.
Why my bedroom activity
is
how I please my partner and or myself control? How is that relevant to us running the country?
Because they nasty.
How is that relevant to making sure people have jobs, food, money, and war? Explain. I just want to. I don't understand what I do in between my legs and who I do it with or who I don't do it with has to do with sustaining society. What does my procreation tool got to do with you feeding and sheltering and making sure that you ain't got homeless people?
But they all up in it. All up in it.
Why does who I choose to love and raise my family with have to do with war over in another country, which we shouldn't even be worried about that either way, but y'all gonna be in their business too. But again, what does it have to do with running this country? What does it have to do with running any country? Because it ain't just the United States that does it, it's every country. Going all the way back to, like you said, 400 AD.
And probably before that, honestly. It's really important to understand that a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, this is surface stuff, everybody. Yeah. This is surface because it goes a lot deeper. But this is surface. But I just want you to keep following to see how we constantly are contradicting our sexuality, what is in us to do and be. And there's really, honestly, when you stop and you think about it, there's honestly no rhyme or reason to why. Because they can write a law, but they never tell you why. Now, I can understand we writing a law because, George Floyd had a knee on his neck. Nobody can ever do that again, blah, blah, blah. I can get that. I can understand the Amber Alert. I can understand that. I can understand certain things. But when it comes to this particular subject, honestly, there's no real honest to goodness, no reason why.
If there is consent, why are you worried about it?
Exactly. And we talk about
other than control, I can't think of anything. You control somebody's mental pleasure and you control their life being. Because now for the rest of their life, they're worried about, oh crap, I can go to jail for something that I enjoy. Something that brings me happiness, something that brings me pleasure. When you control pleasure, you control the masses.
It's a mind fuck.
And it really is. It's a mind fuck. It is. And it is about, because number one, if you haven't noticed, every turn of the century or somebody gets a bee up their bonnet, something changes. Once again, it's who's in power that changes it. And then we're actually the ones that have suffered from this because we don't know if we should be doing this, if we should be doing that, if we can do this. Are we allowed to do that? Can we have this? Can we do? No, not sure. So you can't understand why we have these all of these issues and problems. That's why they need sexuality coaches. Hello, because we have a lot of innate and trauma that has happened to our psyche when it comes to what we can and cannot do with when we're having intimacy or we're having sex or we're just fucking or we're making love. We don't know what we're really allowed to do and not allowed to do. I mean, it's a horrible thing to just think that you're laying in bed with your wife and somebody just kicks the door in because you're white and she's black.
I'm gonna kick the door in because you're doing something that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Exactly. And I'm going to drag you out your house and I'm going to take you to jail. And I'm going to lock you both
Something that has
up.
nothing to do with me.
But am I bothering anybody? No, I'm laying in the bed with my husband or my wife. I'm legally married. I mean, and I had to go somewhere else, a whole nother state to get married because my husband is white and I am black. And then I get kicked out of the state that we both get kicked out of the state that we've grown up in.
We're born and raised in, where our families are. I think the story of the Lovings is one of the saddest mental. I mean, at the end, it ended up being a happy ending, but there's so much sadness and trauma in that story, in that love story, just for them to be happy.
And this happens still. It may not necessarily, and I'm not even going to say it don't happen in this country because in some of these back heels, I'm sure it still does. But
even
I know it happens
outside of the back heels and people kicking in doors, it still happens mentally in today's society. Look at how Supreme Court Justice Ketanji was berated and harassed. Oh, she's an educated black woman. She couldn't get her a black man. But she married who loved her.
What's that got to do with you?
Yeah.
But it's okay for Clarence Thomas to be married to a traitor, a white woman.
Right. And we don't have we never questioned his marriage as black women. We questioned the fact that she was a traitor on January 6th.
Yeah, but he knew she was a traitor before then.
That is true. That is true. But even with Vice President Kamala, they ran her through the ringer for being and it's funny because don't nobody ever got nothing to say when men do it. When women do it, it's a problem. It's okay when y'all do it, but when we do it, it's a whole problem.
Double standard. And that's just the honest to goodness truth. It's a double standard. But we're supposed to, as women of color, take it with a grain of salt, and smile pretty,
by our men,
and just go on with our lives. But and I've seen it for myself because I've dated outside of my race, and let me tell you, some of those white guys, they definitely treated me way better than a black man.
Yeah.
And I love my black men. I do. I love my black men.
Now,
I'm rooting for them to get it right. Okay.
Right. I love black men. But I will say this about the white men I have dated. I will say this. The reasons that they have given for why they choose black women over white women kind of bothers me a little bit. But it's the same reasons that bother me when black men say they choose women of other races over black women. When you have to degrade the people that look like you to date somebody of another race, it makes my skin crawl. That's all.
Now, I can't say I've ever had that experience.
You've been lucky.
But
You've been lucky.
I've definitely had, men that, I swear this one, he was, oh my God, he gave me this rose. Never forgotten it. It was like the biggest rose I had ever seen, and it lasted for like ever. It was it was huge. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I'm highly allergic, but I loved the gesture. It was just and he had somebody else just deliver it to me. He didn't do it.
Oh.
He'd gotten to the restaurant early and had it delivered. Never, had somebody be, I've had people send me flowers, but to me, this was just above and beyond just having flowers delivered.
Right.
There was this extra kind of, it was just a single
rose.
An
extra energy to it.
Yeah, it's very simple, very elegant, and just well done. So, and that's not to say that our men of color don't do these kinds of things, because they do. It's just a question of, why can't we all just be people and we're interested in a person? I know we definitely would, some of us want to stay in our race. Some of us don't actually mind who we share our life with, as long as we're happy. And my thing is as long as you're happy, who cares? And you don't have to bring down, as you said, Jasmine, another race in. What did you say, Danny? I'm sorry.
Or your own.
Or your own, right. You don't have to bring them into the conversation and tear them down. You can like what you like.
Yep.
And honestly, your reason for liking what you like is your reason. Just keep it to yourself.
And I think that's the biggest issue, because the biggest hot topic on social media right now is the passport bros.
What is that?
The black men that have passports to go and get women from other races and cultures because they're more submissive and docile. So they think.
Which that tells me that you can't get what you want over here. So you're always, it says more about you than it does anything else.
This is the biggest hot topic about it, though. People are comparing it to white men getting male older brides. And the difference is, and what a lot of black women are saying, the difference is, white men have been doing this for ages. We understand that it's nothing different than what they were doing, than what these passport bros are doing. The difference is, white men aren't down talking white women when they do it. Black men are saying black women aren't this, black women aren't that, black women can be this, so I'm going to go get this. That's the difference. Why you got to down talk me because your preferences are different? That's like
well, to me, honestly,
they say, if it ain't snowing, we ain't going. Like, you don't have to talk down about us.
But those are weak individuals. Those are people that have issues and problems that they need to deal with. That has nothing to do with us as women. Those are and women of color. Those are, to me, they're weak. You cannot handle a woman who can be submissive, but as I tell people, and you know this, Jasmine, and Danny, you know this too, I'm a switch. I'm only submissive to one, and I'm only submissive. My submission is a gift. It is a gift, and if you don't know how to treat my submission, then don't accept it. And a lot of men do not really truly, and it's a whole nother topic, but they really truly do not understand what submission means or what it even is. They have this delusion of grandeur of what it's supposed to be. You think it's supposed to be cooking, cleaning, and doing whatever your whim is. But what is funny to me is they find out later on one or two things happen. And I know there's some studies out there with the people that go out and marry like this. One of two things happen. That woman comes to the United States and becomes aware. She wakes up and she sees all these other women and what they're able to do and where they're able to go and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden she gets her voice.
Mm-hmm.
She gets her voice. Now he don't want her.
But and what I was gonna say was, as much as men holler that they want submission, and I know BDSM is still a taboo topic, but I swear, vanilla men need to take like, you know how in school they used to make us take domestic classes to learn how to cook and clean and be women? Men should take a class in dominance and submission to really learn what the hell it is. Learn what being an alpha man is. Learn what being a leader is. Learn what being a man and a provider is before you talk about what you want your woman to be.
That part.
But thank you for this TED Talk.
I mean, it's true. I have found, and I've listened to some other people, some other conversations, listened to some other men on their podcasts, and they're even echoing what we're saying. Because a lot of these men, you talk about you want a submissive woman, but you don't even know what a submissive woman is. You have no idea of what it means. You have no idea of what you're asking for. And then on top of it, you can't provide, you can't do your portion.
You don't understand the responsibility.
I had a man tell me one time, he said, my woman needs to be complete soft life, but we got to go 50-50 on the bills. I said, then I'm no longer soft life, hun. You want me to cook, clean, and take care of the kids and be complete soft life? I need you to provide and pay 100% of the bills. Nah, this ain't that. Y'all won't equal. Then you don't want me to have soft life, because if you want me to have soft life, you're going to provide 100%. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Right. They, like I said, they have delusions of grandeur.
I'm not your mama. I done told plenty in. I'm not your mama. I'm not raising you. So I'm not about to go to work, pay the book, clean, and wash your ass.
But once again, they don't understand. They have this quote unquote idea, and they've probably gotten it from Hollywood. That's where I think a lot of stuff they're getting it from the entertainment, as Danny would say, the entertainment that is on, it's entertainment. That is it's not real life.
I don't even think that they're getting it from that. I think they're getting it from what their childhoods were, because so many of these households are single parents, whether it be male or female, are single parent households, and a lot of them are led by women. They're seeing the women do it all, but they're also seeing them with all, if that makes sense. Yes, mom is working and providing and taking care of the bills, but there's no one there to do that. That's why she has
right.
So she's also doing the soft life.
She's supposed to be doing
cooking every night. She's cleaning. She's washing my clothes. She's picking up after me. They're seeing mom do everything, and they think that's what wife is supposed to do. Well, I'm here, so she's not doing the finances by herself, but she still needs to provide like my mom provided, and cook and clean for me too. They got it wrong. Unfortunately, society with single parents, that's what we're dealing with.
And that's, once again, whole nother topic, because there's a lot to unpack in there. And once again, some men will say, I want a strong woman, and some of these women have had to be strong. I know myself. I know my story. My story is I've been on my own since I was 17. Guess what I don't need? A man to me is not a need. A man to me is a want. I want a good man in my life. I want a helpmate. I want a supporter. It's not that I need, I don't know, honey. The only thing I need is food, shelter, and clothing. I got that. I got that. Now, if you want me, and I found out I am not the one to sit on my ass while you go out and make the paycheck. I've already went through that. It don't work for me because I want to contribute to my household. I don't want to go to my husband and ask him for $20 so I can go buy him a gift.
Mm-hmm.
He can go buy his own gift with his own $20. I want it to be from me, from the heart, from whatever it is that I'm doing. So, I mean,
exactly. I like chasing the bag. I've gotten accustomed to it.
And some of us have had to. And I don't think that men sometimes understand that. And when you don't understand where we've come from, where our struggle is, when you have a preconceived notion up in here, it's imaginary of what a woman is supposed to be, whether she's a strong woman, whether she's supposed to be docile or submissive. When you don't understand and don't sit down and talk and really have that 3 C's, clear, concise communication, book coming soon. You don't understand anything. You really just don't. It's just like delving into what we're delving in tonight, and we're going to get a couple more in here because we've gotten a little bit off topic, but it all kind of goes together. It does go together. But when you don't know where you've come from, you can't possibly know where you're going.
Exactly.
And some of us nowadays, we all like and y'all know I say it all the time, and I'm gonna say it again. Y'all think relationships are like instant grits. Just add water and cook 2 minutes. That's not a relationship.
That's not how that works.
That's a narcissist relationship.
Just add water. And even you all that are going out here getting mail order brides and blah blah blah. Once she gets over here in these States and she gets to see that she can go to the grocery store and she can go to Walmart and she can go to she can go one-stop shop for everything. And the checkout boy gonna start flirting with her. I mean, dude, you might not. She might not. I'm just saying. But I do find sometimes that people, when it comes to the difficult stuff in the relationship, and Danny, I know you've gone through it with your partner. You've gone through the difficult stuff, but you all have stuck it out. These people don't want to stick it out. Because why?
Because I don't know what's important.
Let's go back here, because back in where were we? Where it says divorce is okay. Okay, so once that happened, because divorce was outlawed in the 1500s. Okay, and then 1500s it was outlawed, but by the 1900s, you could get divorced and be, you good. You in there. You can get a do-over with somebody totally different. So it's not quite the same. So let's go to the Roaring 20s really quick here. Ooh. So the laws, the flapper girls. No, I love flapper girls. That was my 55th birthday party. So the laws put in place to stifle sexuality and sexual expression. Women cut their hair, danced, wore makeup, and partied. Flappers. Prohibition of alcohol takes effect January 16th, 1920. Birth control is also illegal in many cities. Sigmund Freud came up and publishes The Ego and the Id in 1923, and stresses desire, libido, and that was for women, okay, and men, okay. So that was your 1920s. Then we get into the Great Depression, which is 1929 to 1939. Now, this isn't that long ago, guys. This is less than 100 years ago. Emphasis on dating for companionship. Marriage values start to crumble as survival takes on living together. So birth control is important as the size of the family is important during hard times. In DC, only unmarried women could get employment. Homosexuality begins to be labeled as a problem caused by what? Mental illness, and therapies to cure and treat it become popular. So now, just a few years back, okay, homosexuality was okay. And then here we are again with, reversing our roles on homosexuality in 1929, 1939, and during the Depression. But living together, thumbs up, because it was tough times. So now you could live with somebody and you weren't going to be shunned. You could have companionship, as they called it. Probably some fucking companionship. I don't know. I'm gonna go with that because
that's how that must be how the whole what do they call it? The marriage that's not really a marriage, common law.
Mm-hmm. Now that's only recognized in certain states.
Yeah. But I'm saying it must have came out of that whole companionship, needing to live together, out of the necessity thing.
It might have. I think that's very possible.
You can get out of necessity, but you can't, if you're of the same sex, you can't like each other. You can't love each other.
That came out of procreation. They felt like they weren't gonna have people to make babies if we was living with the same sex and having sex with the same sex.
Well, we got plenty of babies that need to be adopted.
That part.
You're pro-life until they're here. Anyway.
There's that, right. So that would, to me, that once again, we're reversing our steps on homosexuality. Now we're treating homosexuals like they were treating women. Now it's a mental illness, when back in, earlier years, decades, it was accepted. It was irreversible. It's almost like we don't learn anything. It's like
I just thought of another reason why they would make it a mental illness. It has to do with procreation, though, because the more white men that are in homosexual relationships, the less that they're going to be able to procreate, unless they become the majority. They become the minority at that point.
That's a possibility. The other part of it is most definitely homosexuality. Once again, it's been around since the beginning of time. It's not like it just showed up.
It's never stopped us from procreating before.
It's never stopped. It's always, even if it was done behind closed doors. And a lot of these men were bisexual, but we don't want to talk about that part.
Yeah.
They had their gay lover, and they had their to everybody else. Oh, they were married, had kids over here, but I'm gonna go out for a pack of cigarettes. I'm going over here to my boyfriend's house. Technically,
I'm going to my friend's house to play cards. Wink, wink.
Right. So homosexuality, like I said, it was never something that didn't happen. Never. It's been around. It's been there.
Alexander,
so everybody's
had multiple male lovers.
Stop thinking that it's not there, because it is. And it was natural. And let's see. So let's get to World War II. Okay.
Ooh.
So 1939 to 1945. Sex is a pleasurable activity. Liberal Yeah. Liberal sexual thinking continues. More sex in movies and magazines. So now we're getting into Danny's field here. We're getting into the movies, the magazines. You seeing more kissing and more you know, they were
That
in
was to appeal to women. Think about the Harlequin novels.
Romance.
They wanted the fantasy that a woman may have. They want to make it look like you know, and for women.
But also to appeal to the military man because he was often away from his family.
Honey, he was all fucking anyway. He had
Thank
no
you.
family.
True.
Right. I'm sorry. I would love to go with you on that statement. No, it was for women that they could feel like they had some, you know, like I'm seeing that and that's a fantasy, and I want these men that's gonna do this, and men think that you might do this, and I look at you and I grab you by the back of your hair and look at you intensely, deeply. Yeah.
And your panties, and your panties fall off, and your panties just go
drop like immediately.
Immediately. And it's true because, you know, a lot of people, we do, you know, all of us do, even, you know, nowadays we look at the movies, and we look at books, novels, newspapers, magazines, and it's a form of entertainment, and we're entertained. We're definitely entertained. And then on top of being, I was going to say,
love scenes, you have sex scenes and love scenes in movies that don't even need them.
Well, yeah, and then you have people that want to emulate what they see. You have people that this is what I want my life to be.
Entertainment.
Exactly. Exactly. But hey, if we can make fantasy into reality, we're gonna try. Okay, so now we're moving to the 50s. Proves that sexual activities will occur despite the moral climate. Dr. Alfred Kinsey, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. It was pretty good. Publishes Sexual Behavior in the Human Female. In the 40s, he published Sexual Behavior of the Human Male. Thousands of Americans were interviewed. 50% of women had premarital sex, and 68 to 90% of men had premarital sex. 30% of men had sex with another man, and 13% of women had sex with other women. 50% of men cheated, and 25% of women cheated. And here's the piece de resistance for the 1950s. 1953, Playboy was introduced.
Hey,
and
you have
the acceptance of sexual media in 1953, less censorship. In the 1950s, housewife roles were clear. In the 50s. Here you go with the Playboy. I'm just saying.
Hey.
Changed everything. You got your Playboy, you got your Hustler, you got your Penthouse, you got your
your Flicks.
You helping Larry Flint. We salute.
Mm-hmm. So the 50s that was the shit, and you would think the 50s would be very conservative, but they weren't as conservative as I thought they were. I thought they were a little more conservative, but the 50s were not. Here we go. We on that roller coaster. We about to take off.
You knew the 50s wasn't conservative because look at Greece. That explains the 50s all in itself. You had old girl thinking she was pregnant.
But
they was all having sex in cars on the hill. The teenagers was getting in.
It still had a innocent kind look to it. I mean, you got to think of like real until the end of the doggone movie. It still had
but
a slight little.
In the movies, they're always going to make it look innocent. You got to think about it. Anything in history is going to make things look lighter than what it really is, and they wanted you to see it in the best light possible, whether it's history or false fiction, historical, all of that stuff. It's still to make it look good and look pleasing. So if that was the innocent version of it on the movie screen, just think of what was really going on, because that was at the height of teen marriages, teen pregnancy. That's when all of that stuff started to really, really come into play. Baby girls getting sent off to go live with grandma while she had a secret baby, and then coming back and mama raising her. That was all 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
But at the same token, you still had Miss Leave It to Beaver. You had you had
you still had the wife looking kind of, the pearls with the apron, with the nice fufu dress, and
the traditional woman, as
they like to call it.
Right.
Yes, dear.
And the
husband
only
and
time
wife
that she
sleeping in separate beds,
twin beds, and the only time you do it is to have a baby.
Yeah.
So we were still in that kind of a because wives and things back then were held to a higher standard in the 50s. You were a house. If you were a housewife, you're a housewife, and then the man could go out and kick it, and have extra pussy on the side, and that just how it was back then. So let's see, what else do we have? I think that was interesting, though. I like the fact that Playboy started in the 50s. The 60s to the 80s is the sexual revolution. Rejection of typical gender roles, acceptance of sex outside of monogamous and heterosexual marriages. 1960s, the IUD. And Playgirl magazine was introduced. Playgirl, yeah. Hey. 1965, contraception is legal for married couples. 1972, contraception legalized for unmarried women. Okay, that ain't been that long ago, y'all. 1973, abortion legalized. And then, of course, here in 2022, taken away. And DSM removes homosexuality as a mental disorder in 1973.
Wow.
So, yeah. 1973. Societies and communities differ in sexual attitudes, practices, beliefs, and customs. So, this kind of gives us just like a little brief synopsis of kind of the things that were going on in those years, in those centuries. And it does explain a lot of our sexual repression and how we have developed, even in this country, sexually, all people, because we have all been influenced by these thought processes, these laws, or not laws, but let me just do whatever the hell I feel like doing to people, actions. So a lot of this is, I think, why right now, even in the year 2022, we cannot sit down still and talk about sex. We cannot have that adult conversation. We have a lot of misinformation that's been disseminated out there, because if you look over the timeline that I just gave you guys, it's wishy-washy. Mm-hmm. 1 minute everything is cool, the next minute, 1,000 years later, somebody else comes up with a brilliant idea that it isn't, and really has no reason except for, as Danny might have stated, that their feelings got hurt at some particular point in time. So now they're gonna make a law, or they're gonna make a big a big stink about not being able to do X, Y, and Z because their feelings got hurt, or whatever the case may be. But it just shows the inconsistency, and I think that's really part of the problem that all of us have when it comes to knowing our sexuality, especially women, because of all this stuff. We weren't supposed to have pleasure. We're going to zap that out of you. You're not supposed to enjoy sex. Some of you.
You're mentally ill.
Right. And a lot of women still think that. Oh my God, I had an orgasm. Something is wrong with me.
Congratulations.
Enjoy that shit.
But they don't know that. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with me.
Nope.
What? I'm broke. You broke it.
Broke it? No, he fixed it. Enjoy that shit.
All of that.
So, guys, this just gives us a little glimpse of our sexuality in the Western Hemisphere. And this is mostly, once again, based on people of color. But it has creeped into all of races because of the fact that we are here. So it is something that I think is important to know. I hope you guys learned a little something, and it made you think a little bit more. Yeah. It was kind of cool to do some research on this.
So
I felt like a student today.
Well,
just
I'm always
learn
a student, so. But yeah, this is very interesting, like for real.
Because I think it explains a lot of things. I found it to help me as a sexuality coach to be able to work with people and understand some of the, as Danny puts it, she always talks about trauma, and the trauma that's in the recesses of our minds that we don't even know are there, where our thought processes come from. And this is some of the stuff of where our thought process comes from. Hey, Corey, this is where we get this stuff from. And it's in our psyche, and we don't even realize it.
Indoctrination.
We don't even realize it.
At its best.
Exactly. At its best. So I hope you guys got something out of this tonight. I really do. I wanted to pass on as much information as I could regarding, sexuality in Western civilization. I thought it was important to talk about, because I work with a lot of women that have a lot of repression. And for me, this answers so many questions that they may have, and why they think the way they think, why they think they're not beautiful. Because this kind of treatment in some of those years has made us insecure, gentlemen. For those gentlemen that are out there and you're wondering why are you so insecure? I love you. Once again, it's been put into our psyche.
It ain't you.
It ain't you. It's deeper than that. We have been told you're not pretty. We have been told you're not attractive. We have been told you're not a sexual being. We have been told withhold your desires. And we believe it because it's been browbeated into us to the point where I would rather not think I'm pretty, not think I'm smart, not think I'm attractive, not think that I can have an orgasm. I would rather think that than actually face that I'm a gorgeous woman or I'm an intelligent woman, because sometimes that's harder to try to live up to that hype. I can just be here and I'm good.
Amen.
So once again, I hope you guys got something out of this. I thought it was fun. I want to do some other cultures definitely do some more research and some more on different like indigenous and Africans, and I just want to do all of it. I just think it's very, very interesting to sit down and find out the differences, especially when it comes to cultures, when it comes to sex and how they think and where their thought processes come from.
Yeah, this was absolutely great, Juicy. I'm sorry, but that your pullout game.
that is I'm sitting with that. That's a sin every time. You can't pull out, it's a sin.
Well, Teddy's already said he's sinned many times. Teddy he has embraced that his pullout game is weak. Okay, he has embraced it. But
highlight. Oh, okay, yes.
It's just funny. It's just so crazy that, my portion of this is the fact that they were institutionalizing women because they wanted to enjoy sex. I'm like, really? You're going to put them in an institution? Zap it out of them? Are you nuts? Are you nuts?
They didn't want women to like nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No nut.
When you get no nut and no nut for you and no nut for you, and you don't get a nut and you don't get a nut and you don't get a nut and you
don't get a nut and nobody gets a nut.
That's hilarious. It is funny.
Nobody nada.
But that law changed pretty quick. Okay, that thought process hurried up and changed. So there you have it.
I bet it did.
So once again, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. And we want to thank everybody that tuned in and took a listen, because it was really, I'm happy that we got to do this topic, because I think it was important that we kind of know where some of our thought processes come from, and understand, where we've been and where we're going. So real important. I agree. So Jasmine, let everybody know how they can reach you.
You guys can reach me on Facebook at Jasmine Purple Rain, on Instagram at Purple Rain's Play Palace 83, and on TikTok at Serene Rain. I am gonna get all of my social media all onto one social media here soon, but right now I'm just kind of all over the place. Also, follow the YouTube channel Purple Rain's Play Palace. I do post the videos from our live stream on there the next day, so if you missed the episode, you can catch it there as well.
And Danny, go girl.
I'm gonna try to say this slow so y'all can hear. He's window DANIZWINDOW. Also Danny's window view. Everything. Yeah.
You guys can catch Miss Juicy, MZJEWCCEE. I am on where am I? I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, and for whatever reason, and I'm on Instagram. So if you spell Ms. Juicy, MZJEWCEE, hopefully you will find me on Facebook. I'm Dara Ms. Juicy Smith. So just letting everyone know, getting ready for a great 2023. We will definitely be back in 2023 with more shows and conversations and crazy computer issues. We got it all right here. Okay, guys, we got it all. So just stick with us. But join us next Monday night right here live on Juicy Tales Erotic Chat, where we will have another wonderful hot topic for you all to be a part of. And just make sure you come back and join us. We start at 6 p.m. for our folks out on the West Coast. 8 p.m. Central Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 10 p.m. for our friends in Barbados because the time changed. So their clocks change in our stone. So there you go. I hope everybody has a great week. We'll be right back here next Monday night with more Juicy Tales Erotic Chat for Jasmine Purple Rain and Miss Danny's Windows and myself, Miss Juicy. Remember to enjoy, enlighten, and embrace eroticism. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.